right, welcome back to my channel. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on your time zone. How are we all doing today? So I'm not gonna waste much time. Because this video is an interview that I told us that somebody shared the link on our WhatsApp group, and he said that it's very, very important that people should just watch the video from beginning to the end. Honestly, I did, and I find it worthy of sharing. That's why I have to bring it here. I took my time to download it and arrange it the way it is now. So I'm not going to say much. I'm not here to analyze anything about it, but for you to hear the message, okay? The priest that is going to this white man is going to interview is somewhere in the north. Ebon about Makandi na Samanepa is a problem. Since Mazamakana started Biafra movement in insecurity everywhere in Igbo land, I don't know if Mazamakana is the one also that causes insecurity in Meduguri, in Zamfara State, in Kebbi State, in Benue State, name it. I don't know if Mazamakana or PM Samanepa is the one. Then people should tag the video to their Kojuku. And all the DOS members, those that went to Finland to testify against Chief Anowata. The only thing you need to understand in this life is that truth can never ever be covered. You may try to cover it for a while, it must surface. It will eventually come out. People will end up seeing that you're hiding. Some of our people are very, very crazy. So this has nothing to do with the Biafra. It is the situation of things and the impending doom that is going to hit if care is not taken. To everybody, whether Muslim, Christian, hear the template, and this video also, validates what Mazakana have been preaching and saying all this while, that they are coming. They are coming. Despite all Mazakana is saying, today we see some people like Udele, a man that a well-known somebody that is named Bugalo Mwai in Turkey. It is not me saying it. People have actually exposed it many times. Even yesterday, as the hot was busy, exposing him as well. If you know who I'm talking about, no problem. If you don't know, then ask your neighbor. One thing you need to understand is that this problem is not peculiar to anybody. It is not peculiar to one group of people or something like that. Danger deal. And now you can see Ogenkere. Some people actually want to use this opportunity to cause one or two problems or to undermine what is yet to come. Playing game, gambling with people's life, undermining the number of people that have lost their life because of this issue. Today in the Benue State, bring anybody that sounds like Mazagani, they will see you as Jesus, because they don't have anybody to defend them, to stand for them. Even our people that have, we are the one chasing our own away. Even as I'm talking to this, I'm saying this now, some are cooking up how to go against USB and COS. Of course, look at what happened to PM Simon Ekpa. Everything that happened to him has to do with nothing else. Igbo people, like Jovica of this world. And then they claim like a secret. They know how to expose evil with standing on their altar or doing that as a priest of an Anglican. You are not better than any other person. The problem going on in our land, like I said, is something that people need to open your eyes and see. In fact, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Let's hear this.
In a few minutes, I'm going to show you a video interview that I conducted with a Catholic priest in Nigeria, where we discuss the current situation, which most people, presumably you as well, are unaware of, if you've been following the supposed media, both liberal and conservative. There we go with those words again. But before I do so, let me tell you how this all started, how I got to know this priest, and how this interview came about. About a month ago in August, I received an email from a Catholic charity group that was helping Christians in Nigeria. And it said, "I have some very sad and distressing news, and I was hoping that you might be able to help. The news media is not covering this topic, and Catholics in Nigeria are not sure how to seek out help. Father Samuel Maria from Nigeria, a native and pastor of over 10,000 souls, has just informed me that the Muslims have been advancing for months and are very close to them, and things are getting very desperate. Their situation is becoming very dire, and he would like to do another interview with any US media that would like to hear an update specifically regarding how the Muslims are advancing and killing innocent souls. As you know very well, it is not politically correct today to speak out against the Muslims, and thus many news media do not want to hear or report what is going on. I essentially agreed to have an interview with Father Abba Samuel Maria is his name, and we set a date for sometime in September. About a week later, I received another email from that same person of that Catholic charity, and in it they quoted Father Abba Samuel Maria himself in an email he wrote to them. So he wrote on August 13th the following, quote, St. Paul's Parish, Ayatwar Rectory, which I sacrificed everything to build, was set ablaze by Fulani jihadists yesterday. The church windows, glasses were broken, and the people successfully sacked from their ancestral homes. Kudos to the Nigerian army for successfully disarming the people and making them vulnerable to their attackers.
Now, I want you to listen to what he said here. I don't know if you understand what he said here. He said, this is a letter from the Christians in the north, the people that are reporting this story. This man. Credit or kudos to Nigerian army for disarming people from defending themselves. Kudos to Nigerian army for disarming people, meaning that they know that these people are facing threats. The first job they have to do is to make sure that you that are going to be that are on the receiving side of this terrorist act, that you are being disarmed, you can't do anything to defend yourself. They don't want any reprisal attack from your own end. But if you challenge them, they will do everything to support these terrorists to come after you. I'm not the one saying it. This is what the write-up is. The writer of this information that this man is reading out, because he's reading what they said to him, reporting from the north. To you, it doesn't matter. No, it's just right? Don't worry. Like I said, if not that, God in heaven wired our people differently. Like all the leaders, their IQ are very high. Like COS, PM Samonepa, Master Modicano. These are different breeds. They are not ordinary. Why? Only them that God has bestowed this kind of mind and the strength on them can see how idiotic people from a place, what they are yapping, and still come out to fight to defend their land. If not, out of anger, people may, like some people may can't take this kind of nonsense from them. They would have just ignored them and fight back. Tete. Do you understand? You just let them be. Can the Fulani will everybody go about it? Anyway, let's continue.
The cries of the people echo through the land as the Fulani invaders, equipped with logistic and high-level intelligence provided by the military personnel, attack and slaughtered unarmed civilians in their sleep, leaving a trail of blood flowing like a river. Justice, integrity, dignity, humanity, all lost in the fray, a nation's future uncertain each passing day. And then the person who emailed me after quoting this from the priest said, please let me know if you can do an interview with Father on this topic ASAP, or have you any other ideas on how to bring awareness to the crisis they're currently experiencing. We greatly appreciate it, as he is remaining faithful in these diabolical times, trusting in our Lord and our Blessed Mother for the triumph of her Immaculate Heart. Okay. And again, for the record, just so everyone knows, I'm not Catholic. This is a Catholic group, of course, and a Catholic priest that I'm going to speak to. But whether you're Catholic or not doesn't change the facts that you're going to be hearing about what's happening there. But then before we could have our interview on September 11th, the same priest, Father Abba Samuel, sent an email to the person who was writing to me saying that they had received in Arabic a Muslim jihad declaration, essentially. And here it is. He had people translate it. So it says, quote, here's the quote: translation of pamphlet written in Arabic and distributed in select mosques in northern Nigeria by the Fulani nationalist movement. And
now, I know that many of you may not capture this part as well. The person that is in contact with him, the one that wrote this message to him, in that message, the person requested that it could be a parishioner, all right, from that Catholic church or the diocese there. Ask this man, if you don't mind, I can connect you with the parish priest so that you can have an interview with him. He will expatiate more on this topic about the encounter they are having with terrorist group in the north. All right. Now, this man, after he received this letter, he replied them back and said, "Okay, you know that kind of thing. We are going to fix a date for this interview and all that, or you know that kind of thing." They talk. They have communication there. The contact was made. Before the day they set out for this interview, they wrote him again, telling him that we have received a memo circulating in different mosques in the north, and this memo, like flyers, is just like handout, you know, just brief information on template on what they want to achieve as a Muslim, a radical Muslim. That is what they want, and it was written in Arabic. They get hold of the copy of that thing, passed to them, to the Muslims in mosques. Imam them receive this message to convey those messages to their, Muslims going to mosques to be aware of the template they're operating on. And this diocese or this Catholic church translated. They find somebody to translate it for them. After they translated it, they now understand what that message is all about, and we're going to hear that shortly. Just pay attention as we move forward.
This letter was apparently dated February 6th, 2025. And in this letter it says, "The battle is getting closer. We call on all true Muslims. This is the time to act. This is the time for Second Holy War. We started in 1804. The British stopped us. We must regain the territories lost."
Okay, this kind of video is good for live stream. But I want to, present it this way. But please bear with me. Don't complain about the length of the video. Make sure you like the video, of course, and tell us what you think about it, because the purpose of reporting it is not for you to hear the white man talking or hear Kai report talking. It's about the message that comes with it. That they started this jihad in 1804. Usman Danfodio, in case if you don't know. For some of you that are not government students, even in Nigerian secondary school, they are teaching it about the movement of Osman Danfodio that conquered North. It is there. They did not hide it in secondary school in Nigeria. Okay, I think the first time I heard about it I was in SS1, that is class 4 in secondary school. All right, now that they started and British stopped them. And that's why they say second war, right? Now, remember what Gumi said. There's a war going on between, ethnic war. Shehu asked him, between who? He said between Fulanis and others. Others are those who are not them. I don't know what again do you want? And for you to, somebody will be, an Igbo man will not have the audacity to tell you, you guys are sponsoring you to do this and do that. Honestly, if I'm God, if you open all the Manaka, Fulanis will have your life in their hands. All these Jovika people, Jovika and all of them, both Manaka Witness and Finland, all of you, if all the Manaka, get your problem, all the Manaka, Una Fulani get Manaka. Yes, I'm talking about those individuals and their household. I'm not saying this is not me praying that they should buy you. I just want you to test what you are denying that is not existing. So you can, I'm not saying they should buy you, but I want to have encounter with them. so that in your next life, or if you make it out, you learn you learn the lesson. Because it is shocking. Even people that are committing this crime are telling you boldly, publicly, that this is what we are doing. We are doing this is how we started. This is what we want to achieve. Like what Mazokano have been saying. Mazokano said it many times. Today, he's facing the same people that are doing sponsoring this are the one holding him down. On the buying bad.
It is against Islam to rotate power with infidels. Forget about elections that will only lead to sharing of power. Think of the kingdom that we shall rule forever. We must take the enemies in the west, central, and the north, they mean in Nigeria, by surprise, because most Muslims live in the north. So they want to attack the enemies, mostly Christians, in the west central. That is the plot. Disperse and occupy their homes, forests, streets.
You see why they're pushing for Muslim ticket, right? That is, it is not normal. It is not abnormal to share power with infidels. They see you as an infidel, we all know that. But despite that, look at it here. It is against Islam to rotate power with infidels. Yet, people can give feed in the Alabajiri.
Schools, markets, and act as spies. You will suffer in this. Rain, cold, and dust will pour on you. But heaven will honor you after the inevitable battles. Our attacks on the infidels must be total and overwhelming. We must begin by instilling fear in them. Weaken their resolve through kidnaps, brutal rapes, making it difficult for them to farm and subdue them before the war.
Making it difficult to subdue them, put fear in them. All right? Making it difficult for them to farm, put fear in them before even the war starts. They said it here. Please, I want you to listen to what the man is saying. Let me stop interrupting the video, because most of you can understand what he's saying. But I just want to key in. I just want to call your attention on every word that comes out from this man. Please, it's very, very important.
Streets, schools, markets, and act as spies. You will suffer in this. Rain, cold, and dust will pour on you. But heaven will honor you after the inevitable battles. Our attacks on the infidels must be total and overwhelming. We must begin by instilling fear in them, weaken their resolve through kidnaps, brutal rapes, making it difficult for them to farm and subdue them before the war. Our strategies involves learning from the tactics of the past and merging it with the wisdom of the moment. There is no going back. Nigeria is our own. It was handed over to us by Allah. How then can we share what is ours? We must never fight a defensive war. We must take the battle to the homes of the infidels. We must use everything that we have, whether you are a boy, a lady, a man, or a woman. All Muslims of Fulani origin must take this as a duty. We must sharpen our fighting weapons. Everything is a weapon. Your Okada, knives, hands, the trailers you drive, the tankers with fuel, food you sell, the house of the infidel.
Even the tanker with the fuel. Dangote. You remember? Only the tanker with fuel and order. Tanker with fuel and order. Or that happened in the 1990s. Or that one in early 2000. Or that one in the 80s. Or that one in the 70s. All of a sudden, every tanker now is a tanker now fuel. Now is a Nigeria. Or to tell anybody be fuel will break. Or fuel will break. Tanker fuel will break. Boom man. What do you expect? When tanker boom man will break. Some other fuel will break. Some are just deliberately, they just light it up but we hardly hear that the driver is being caught. No, not at all. That no. Some of them maybe the suicide one. Yet. And I feel no. I'm not getting motivated. That's to put fear in them. And that fear is working. We must bring the war to them. From Ruga now to bandit. And Gumi made it clear to everybody. It's an ethnic war. Because for him to open mouth and say that, because of I'm going to when I had to go already.
That you guard. Study very well and wait for our order. Exploit the weaknesses of the infidels. They're lousy, lack discipline, sleep like fools, love parties and dances, lack focus, mostly unobservant and unarmed.
That they are lousy. They are lousy. It's what if I get no? They are lousy, they sleep like a fool. Okay.
With your vantage position, you can take on a whole family of 10. Conquer and kill them if need be. The battle must be fought in their homeland. The middle belt must be totally crushed. They are few and divided. Never trust anyone in the east and south, which is Christian majority. Not even their filthy Muslims who do everything Allah rejects. Get yourself prepared. The battle is near. What this is saying is basically even the Muslims who live amongst Christians in those areas in the south and the center are infidels too, because they live amongst Christians. So you can kill them as well. And then the email that sent this to me ended up by saying, please circulate to all Christian groups urgently so awareness would be created and prayers continuously made for the land. Okay, so you will now see the interview that I conducted with Father Abba Samuel Maria. And first of all, unfortunately, because he was on location in Nigeria, that's where he's from, the connection was very bad. And so what ended up happening is we had a third party helping record it, and I couldn't even hear what he was saying. So, but you'll see what he says. Everything is actually put together. But I tell you that because what I ended up doing is just asking various questions, and then everything was added on later, even though I couldn't even hear it or see it at the time. And so I tell you that because you'll hear him speaking very passionately about very, very important and horrific stuff. And then the screen will come to me and I'm basically kind of nonchalant and I just ask another question. So that's the reason. I didn't even know. I'm only seeing it now, the entire video. And so first, I urge you to listen very carefully to this man. This is a man who is in the middle of the fray. Okay, this is what's really happening where Muslims are actually half the nation. Think about it. Nigeria is half Christian, half Muslim. At this point, Muslims don't need to play the victim card as they do in the West. And it's a full-blown, non-stop jihad. As you'll see in the intro, I speak a little bit about what I know has been going on in Nigeria, and I know a fair bit. I've actually been writing a lot about it since probably around 2011, and I think I say this in the video. But everything that I just read to you, that is real. Okay, these Fulani, and the Fulani are these herdsmen who are also Islamic and full-on jihadist mentality. But as you will see in the video, the media won't tell you that, and the Catholic priest affirms this. But they do, in fact, raid Christian villages in the middle of the night, or when they're in churches, and completely horrific slaughter, massacres, rapes, burning churches with Christians inside of them. This is a very, very constant thing. Okay, so do pay attention. And at the same time, remember what I said. I recently did a live stream about the left, if you recall. And I did a little bit of talking about what the left and Islam really have in common. Because if the left is just liberal, as most people seem to think, it never made sense, right? Why are liberals siding with draconian Sharia Muslims? But as I argued, the left and Islam are very similar in that they both are aligned with falsehoods, different falsehoods. Okay, or a different way of looking at it as they're both not aligned with the truth. Okay, and so they are allies for one another in their massive war on the truth. Okay, so keep that in mind, especially as you hear him and he's telling you the truth of what's really happening, and you ask yourself, how come I never heard this? How come the media doesn't talk about this? How come Fox News hasn't told me about this? Okay, why do the conservative so-called media waste more time talking about pronouns as if that's the real problem at stake when people are actually being burned alive and killed and hacked to pieces with machetes almost on a daily basis, actually. And if you want to learn more about what's happening in Nigeria, you should consult my monthly Muslim Persecution of Christians report published by the Gatestone Institute, where I basically collate the sorts of persecution Christians experience at the hands of Muslims every month. And by far the worst is going to be Nigeria, as you'll see. And these go back all the way to 2011. You can find them on my website or the Gatestone Institute. And without any further ado, here's the video. Welcome, everyone. I'm joined by a great guest and to talk about a very important topic that very few people in the West, especially in America, know. It's an important topic because it deals with the genocide you've never heard about. He is Father Abba Samuel Maria, and he's a Catholic priest in Nigeria. And before we get going, I'm just going to have him introduce himself in a couple of minutes. How about it, Father?
Let me just put it out there. The father is not an Igbo person, right? Abba Samuel Maria. So I believe he's not an Igbo priest. So, so some of you that may watch the video and say, oh, what do you expect from Igbo priest? No, he's not an Igbo person. So let's go.
Thank you very much, Mr. Raymond Ibrahim. And we are very, very appreciative for the wonderful work you are doing to create awareness on the terrible situation we are facing here in Nigeria. I am Father Samuel Maria Abba from originally Otukpo Diocese, but in 2020, after the pandemic of the so-called pandemic of the COVID-19, I began the congregation of the Sacred and Immaculate Hearts of Jesus and Mary congregation, where we keep the traditional Catholic Mass and faiths and morals of our one holy, tried, and apostolic faith of the Catholic Church. So I thank Mr. Raymond Ibrahim for this interview.
Thank you very much, Father Abba. So I will begin by telling you and the viewers what I know about the situation in Nigeria, which I've actually been following for probably since at least 2011. And I look forward to you, like I said, correcting or confirming and then elaborating on the important points. So what I recall with Nigeria is basically it's half Christian, half Muslim. That's the way it's usually portrayed. And the Muslims generally seem to be in the northern region, and the Christians generally seem to be in the southern region. And in the northern region, you have various forms of Sharia law and so forth, and it's not exactly ideal for Christians to live in the north. But I think Nigeria sort of came in the spotlight somewhat in the international scene with the rise of Boko Haram back in the, like I said, 2010 or whatever. And they are, of course, an Islamic terrorist organization, which definitely targeted and massacred and slaughtered and killed Christians and bombed and blew up their churches. Many of them, dozens, I would say, actually, because I write reports every month about the persecution of Christians around the Muslim world. It's very clear Nigeria is apparently the absolute worst, okay, at least when it comes to the numbers of Christians who are being killed and just being persecuted and churches being attacked. Anyway, that went on for a long time until somehow, maybe like, I don't know, 5-10 years ago, all of a sudden it became the Fulani herdsmen who started now taking up the slaughter of Christians. Okay. But the narrative changed. So now the Boko Haram, from my perspective, seem to somehow fade in the background. We don't hear too much about them engaged in acts of terror as before, but the acts of terror are greater than ever. And now they're at the hands of these so-called Fulani herdsmen, who I believe the vast majority of them are Muslim. Okay. And it seems to me from what I read between the lines, they are also radicalized by Islamic ideology. They believe what they're doing is jihad. They enter Christian settlements and villages, usually in the middle of the night or after or on Saturday night, right before church, and they slaughter and kill and devastate and burn. And a lot of them, according to witnesses, scream things like Allahu Akbar, and it's very clear they're radicalized. Okay, but in the West, the narrative is that these Fulani have nothing to do with Islamic radicalization or anything, that this is all a land dispute, that the Fulani have been driven out of their homes due to climate change, and that they are not in any way, shape, or form ideologically motivated against, let's say, Christians. In fact, they try to blur the line. They won't even say one's Muslim or one's Christian. It's as if it's sedentary people versus nomadic herdsmen. But of course, it seems to me the nomadic herdsmen are mostly Muslims and the sedentary are Christians. And of course, I think Muslims who live among the Christians get killed too. They're collateral damage and so forth. So that's the general gist that I've seen, and I'm frankly shocked and disgusted at the Western media, but like I said, you'll correct me, and the analysts, and I've seen many people from Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, the Obama administration, all of them talking about, what's happening has nothing to do with religion at all whatsoever. Okay, it's something else. It's like I said, climate change, and to his credit, I even remember Donald Trump, when he was president in the first term, with Muhammadu Buhari, he asked him, "Why are you killing Christians?" And to his credit, at least he brought that question up.
Yes,
and that's the other point I hear, that the government,
right.
whether it's Buhari or not, is somehow complicit. They either turn a blind eye when the Fulani are killing and destroying, or or sometimes they're there and they don't help at all, or sometimes I've even heard they help the terrorists. Okay,
Yeah.
so that seems to be the situation for me. And I've read statistics like in Nigeria, something like one Christian is killed every 2 hours because of their Christian identity. Okay, so that's the summary that someone like me, who's moderately educated by American standards regarding Nigeria, we never hear about this. Okay, here in America, I often point out, maybe you're familiar with something like Black Lives Matter in America, and people always say Black Lives Matter, but I've often pointed out they don't matter, obviously, if they're in Nigeria and if they're Christian. So yeah, I'll hand it over to you now, and you can, like I said, elaborate, confirm, or refute anything I said.
So it's quite interesting because it's a jihad. I got this information just some few days ago about the National Fulani movement dated February 6th, 2025. The battle is getting closer. We call on all true Muslims, this is the time to act. This is the time for Second Holy War. We started in 1804. In the early 19th century, they started this particular jihad. The British taught us we must regain the territories lost. It is against Islam to rotate power with infidels. Forget about election. That will only lead to sharing of power. Think of the kingdom that we shall rule forever. We can change the naughty history. Usman Danfodio, he was the one that began the jihad, did it successfully. We can do it too. We must take the enemies in the west, central, and the north by surprise. That is the plot. Disperse and occupy their homes, forests, streets, schools, markets, and act as spies. You will suffer in this. Rain, cold, and dust will pour on you, but heaven will honor you after the inevitable battles. They are kind of heaven, of course. Our attacks on the infidels must be total and overwhelming. We must begin by instilling fear in them, weakening their resolve through kidnaps, brutal rapes, making it difficult for them to farm and subdue them before the war. This exactly is what they are doing, and they are still doing it. The write-up continues. Our strategies involves learning from the tactics of the past and merging it with the wisdom of the moment. There is no going back. Nigeria is our own. It was handed over to us by Allah. Of course, not the God I worship. Allah is not the Trinitarian God. And that's why it's so sad to see what the Vatican is doing with the Muslims in recent times. How then can we share what is ours? We must never fight a defensive war. The Catholic Bishops' Conference of Nigeria are fighting a defensive war, whereas these people are ransacking and taking over villages, raping, taking over lands and territories, farmlands. People are living in constant fear. Everybody is worried. Everybody is afraid. And we are not allowed to take up arms to fight for ourselves. The government, the military, parastatals are all taken over by these particular sets of jihadists. They are everywhere in government. They're like the Freemasons. They are the ones in control of the Nigeria economy, the Nigeria army, the Nigerian politics, and so on and so forth. The reading continues. We must take the battle to the homes of the infidels. We must use everything that we have, whether you are a boy, a lady, a man, or a woman. All Muslims of Fulani origin must take this as a duty. You must sharpen our fighting weapons. Everything is a weapon. Your Okada, that's the riding, the motorcycle, your knives, your hands, the trailers you drive, the tankers with fuel, food you sell. It's alleged that most food gotten from them these days are poisoned. And this poisonous food goes ahead to kill. They know what it is, they identify it, and they give it to the infidels according to them. And people die in their numbers. The houses of the infidels, the reading continues, that you guard, because most of them, they work as security men in people's houses. Study very well and wait for our order. Exploit the weakness of the infidels. They are lousy, they lack discipline, they sleep like fools, love parties and dances, lack focus, mostly unobservant and unharmed. See, this is the reason why whenever they strike, people cannot defend themselves because they come when you are least expecting. Sometimes people are in the churches, they come, they burn the churches, burn the people in the churches. It is a jihad, and they are serious, and people are dying in their numbers. With your vantage, the reading continues, position, you can take on a whole family of 10, conquer and kill them if it need be. The battle must be fought in their homeland. The Middle Belt must be totally crushed. They are few and divided. Never trust anyone in the East and South, not even their filthy Muslims. Now, this is those people who claim to be Muslims in the West and also in the East and in the South. They don't consider them as true Muslims. You are either Fulani Muslims or you are an infidel. Not even their filthy Muslims who do everything Allah rejects. Get yourself prepared. The battle is near. So, they ask that these should be circulated around Christians. So it is clear. Mr. Ibrahim, in his research, is not wrong. What he's saying is a fact. We are witnesses to it. Just last month, they went to Yelwata. It's not too far from where we are here. It's just a 20 minutes drive. They ransacked the whole village. Even Pope Leo the 14th commented on this the next day. Ransacked the whole village, bound people alive, ran away, and not a single culprit have been caught. And very close to Yelwata, we have the army barrack. Still close to Yelwata, we have the Air Force barrack. We have the naval barrack. So how come they strike and they go? Because they are the ones in control of those barracks. So whatever he's saying is the truth. And people are shying away from it. And souls in their numbers are being killed. Villages are being ransacked. People's lives are being wasted. It's terrible. It's very, very terrible. And it's sad that the Nigerian government is quiet about it. For crying out loud, who's the Nigerian government? The Nigerian government is them. They're in politics, they're in economy, they're even the one deciding what should take place in the country. So it is sad. And I think only the Lord can help us now. That is why we at SSIH, Sacred and Immaculate Hearts of Jesus and Mary Congregation, we are out for the reign of the Sacred Heart of Jesus and the triumph of the Immaculate Heart of Mary through the acceptance of the true traditional Catholic Mass and the true Catholic faith and morals. This is a crusade. And with God on our side, the Sacred Heart will truly reign and Immaculate Heart will truly triumph.
Okay, thanks for that answer, Father Abba. Can you speak some more about the question of Islamic radical ideology and really home in and focus in on to what extent is that really behind what's happening, and what is being taught to the Muslims of Nigeria, for example? Are they being taught that the Christians, I think I read somewhere that they're seen as invaders, remnants of colonialism, hence Boko Haram, right? Western education or whatever is a sin, haram. Is that how they're presented? Is it presented as a full-blown jihad, to destroy and kill the infidels? And what's the situation with churches? I hear, like I said, I've been following the persecution of Christians by Muslims for since 2011, actually, and one of my books is all about it, Crucified Again, which came out in 2013. And I would say the most churches that I've seen burned and bombed and destroyed, oftentimes with Christians in them, are in Nigeria. Egypt maybe is a close second, or it has been for a while, back in the 2010s and before 2020. But maybe you can speak a little to that, please.
The average Muslims are being taught to be radicals, because with the result of what we are getting currently, either they are being taught to be radicals and to see other people in the same vicinities like themselves as infidels. Infidels, people who are against Allah, against Muhammad, against the Islamic movement. So it is clear, because they do not recognize the fact that people exist before they came to the country. And so, for them, they indoctrinate their faithfuls, and their faithful carries out this plan. See, they are very organized, and that's a fact. So
I'm sorry I moved my mic. Very, very sorry for that. And I have been talking. Please, if you are just joining us, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Please, I don't know, because this is recording, I'm recording the video. This is not a live broadcast. I would have see how to, I don't know how to skip, how to merge it together now, because we have gone far on this video. This is a 40 to 41 minutes. And if you have watched it to this far and you did not like the video, you are not doing anybody good. So I was telling you that our people should learn from this. In the north, this priest here is a priest in the north, and I don't think he's Igbo priest. He's not from Igbo tribe. He's a Christian, of course, a Catholic priest. He's a Christian, isn't it? Now he's telling you the way things are in the north, their experience and everything. So do not take it for granted. Whenever you see an Igbo man trying to defend terrorism, like Udele, like that is Ziago man with a white long, with that long beard, white beard, or maybe Ikenga, or maybe even Chidewanya Wang and Co. Jovica, an Anglican priest. Anglican priest. Jovica, come and see your fellow priest. You don't know Anglican priest and the Catholic priest are not the same level. The level can go. But at least you call yourself a reverend. Look at a reverend father here, telling you his encounter. But if you have Jovica, if you have 50 video on your platform, or let's say, let me just use 50 because I know you have more than that. But if you divide your video into three, two of them is against the Igbo, and you are in a serve altar. Anyway, we may have time to respond to your recent claim now. Let me just keep it now. Please watch the video and make sure you like the video, please.
Every Muslims goes out through their, what they call it, this their school, their Islamic schools, and they are indoctrinated. If they're relating with you, it's with a plan. They don't come to you without a plan. And all this noise about Islam is for peace, certainly it's not the kind of Muslims we have in Nigeria. They have an agenda, and that agenda is being materialized because the killings are going on daily. And unfortunately, many villages have been ransacked. People have taken their wares and their businesses from the north down to the middle belt where we reside, and now some of them are taking it back to the east and to the west. You see it now. So if it's not real, these business people and families would not have vacated from those environments. They want to Islamize the country. It is a fact. It is real.
Okay.
And not just getting converts, they want to force their way through and own Nigeria as their own. So Mr. Raymond Ibrahim is not wrong. He is, in his analysis, is correct. They are pushing us away until we get frustrated, probably look for another country to go to, because for them, Nigeria is theirs.
What do you think of how the West has been handling this? Are they intentionally, the media, for example, dissembling and pretending this is all just about climate change, as I pointed out earlier? I remember that's actually what the Irish president or prime minister said after one of the worst bombings of a church in Nigeria. I think it was Palm Sunday, maybe 3-4 years ago, something like 50 or 60 or more Christians were killed. And it was the Fulani. And he came out vehemently saying, you know, it's all you horrible people, how dare you blame the Fulani? They're innocent victims too. This has nothing to do with the religion. And then he started talking about climate change, etc. So
I am happy. I'm happy that Mr. Raymond is bringing Raymond Ibrahim. That's the name of this man. I am happy that he brought out this. He mentioned this. What he mentioned now, that Irish president or Irish prime minister, I don't know what they have there, claimed that after one of the worst bombing of church in Nigeria, he said, according to him, that is how can people start blaming? Why are people blaming? You know, why are they blaming Fulanis? That is all about climate changing, and this is a kind of land dispute and all that. You know, that brings me to the Nigerian news media. Fulanis are not the one controlling the Gente. Fulanis are not the one controlling Nigerian media, like mainstream media. But somehow they are the one. And I will tell you how they are controlling, because they are the one that are controlling those that are controlling Nigerian media. That's why you see people like Channels TV, Arise, Vanguard, Daily Post, rest of them, even Nan Sahara. They are all now doing the same thing. Farmers headers clash. Farmers headers clash. It's sinking in the minds of some of these criminal people in Europe, doing what they're doing just to milk and drain, you know, oil and natural resources away. Because for that Irish president to open mouth and say that, maybe he's a student of Vanguard, maybe he's a student of Channels TV. Farmers headers clash. We after ransacking the village, farmers headers clash. After raping people, doing all those things, farmers headers clash. How can you now, as a Christian, use gum your mouth? Today, Mbaka is facing persecution because of Bishop of Indigo State. For example, many similar things. Remember, there's a priest that was insulting PM from Isioko. There's a place in Anambra State. I've forgotten, not Oluba, not. I can't remember the name. That white, yellow, fat priest that insulted PM. Is he priest or bishop? I don't know his name. I won't lie. He was present in the burial of Ifa Yoba. These are people. A priest. Is that a priest or bishop? A Catholic, you. A Catholic priest in the East have different opinion from a Catholic priest in the North. Why? Selfish interest, stupidity. Ask Bishop Coker. Every conference to make Nigeria work, he will be there. Right? But when Christians are being quiet, he want to sound political correct. Gumi, who claims he's just a mediator, a peacemaker of a terrorist and the government, is focusing on how to push the agenda of Fulanis and their terrorists. But in the East, in the South, Christians are turning it upside down. That's why you that is watching this, and you are not a priest, you are not a pastor, do not rely on some of these your pastors, if not all, or even your reverends. Learn how to love those that wish you to live. If you see somebody like so those ganja smokers, stay away from what you don't know, because your utterances sometimes irritate people. How can somebody like Onoibo say what he said recently? Or because of what? Something that you don't know. You don't have time to watch. You don't have time to research. But you want to contribute. You want to say something. All I'm playing to you now is not from I can report. It is from people who are, victim of those things. The witnesses, the priest we are hearing now have his own parishioners reporting to them, seeking help from them as a priest of God. But in the East, because the road is still free, they can drive somehow free, not fully free. And Fulani, according to the pamphlet, you can hear them saying that they are coming out. The agenda is to inflict fear in people's mind, so that you live in fear. By so doing, whatever they tell you, you're gonna do it. You have no other choice. Anyway, let us just try and wind it down, because I don't think I will finish this video. It's quite long.
Basically, what's the situation in churches? Are Christians, when they gather in churches, essentially terrified they might be blown up or killed, seeing how common it is?
Yes, it is strange to see the Western media not reporting exactly what is taking place here. As I said earlier on, it's a jihad.
Okay.
Villages are being ransacked. Lives are being wasted in their numbers. Now, if the media reports 4,000 persons, be rest assured about 10,000 have gone.
Okay.
So one cannot come out clearly to say the media has been bought, because we don't know who is doing the buying. But those of us who are here experiencing this terrible massacre, we are aware that villages in their numbers are being ransacked. So if the medias internationally have the facilities to truly know what is happening, why can't they report exactly what we are experiencing here?
If you are blaming media, what you need to understand, like I said, is rightly so. You are right. Don't get me wrong. But Joe Vicar is a Anglican priest living in America, but he knows the number of Fulanis in Southeast. He's a priest, or Anglican, liars and deceivers. Maybe I think because of what this man said, this Reverend Father said here, I think I need to gather some of videos of Joe Vicar if I have time, and compare it with the direct report from those who are witnessing it in the north, because that thing is happening in the north now that this father is crying about. We eventually land in Osun officially. Then when people are proactive defending them, some politicians are scared. Ask yourself, what is the role and the activities of politicians in the north as you speak, where this father is reporting this from? Do you think when Fulani is operating with the license from federal government land in your Osun, you that's looking for a local government chairman or looking for how to be a ward leader will have a say to control that? How dare you? All of you are infidel. Whether even at Fabio, that is non-snare president, is an infidel. If they bring the activities, their crusade to National Assembly, you think they will spare Fabio and they allow? You guys are crazy. Anyway, please like the video. Like I told you, I can't go on and on again because the video is quite long. Like the video, I think what to think about all we've discussed so far. And our WhatsApp link is still on. Join our WhatsApp group and let us. I'm not saying you, like I always tell you, if you don't like what you do here, if you're not a fan, if you're not a supporter of the platform, maybe you're just a buyer passer or a passerby, please do not join. I want people who have good mind. Let me use the word good mind to what we do here to be in the other WhatsApp group. And please make sure you like the video and God bless you. Thank you so much. Bye bye for now.